Tensions escalate in multiple regions as the world grapples with critical conflicts and natural disasters. From the intensifying strikes between the US and Iran to the growing threat posed by Typhoon Bavi, today's news is both urgent and impactful. Here are today's top 10 stories you need to know. A joint investigation into the Nord Stream pipeline explosions has gained momentum, with Ukraine officially denying any involvement in the 2022 incidents. This comes amid heightened international scrutiny regarding the circumstances surrounding these explosions, which severely disrupted energy supplies across Europe. The blasts, which occurred in September 2022, raised alarms about potential sabotage and geopolitical tensions in the region. Several nations, including Germany and Sweden, are collaborating to uncover the truth behind the attacks, with implications for energy security and regional alliances. As nations await the findings, tensions remain high, and the potential for blame shifting could further complicate international relations. The outcome of this investigation may not only reshape future energy policies, but also influence diplomatic dynamics, particularly between Russia and Western nations, in the coming months. Cybersecurity researchers have reported a series of sophisticated hacking campaigns targeting Pakistani law enforcement agencies. These cyber attacks, believed to be linked to groups associated with both China and India, underscore the rising digital warfare in South Asia. As geopolitical tensions escalate, the vulnerabilities of governmental institutions are being starkly highlighted, revealing critical gaps in Pakistan's cybersecurity infrastructure. Authorities are now moving swiftly to bolster their defenses and enhance training for personnel in response to these alarming breaches. The implications of these cyber attacks extend beyond immediate security concerns, potentially straining Pakistan's international relations and impacting regional stability. With hostile actors increasingly leveraging cyber tools, Pakistan faces significant challenges in safeguarding sensitive information. In the coming weeks, the nation must prioritize cybersecurity investments and forge stronger collaborations with international partners to effectively mitigate these evolving threats. A fire has erupted at a shoe factory in Fujian, China, resulting in casualties and extensive damage. Witnesses reported that the blaze broke out unexpectedly, causing panic among workers and leading to a chaotic evacuation. Emergency responders arrived swiftly to control the flames and provide medical assistance. This incident underscores the persistent issues surrounding industrial safety in China, where rapid economic growth has sometimes outpaced regulatory measures. The factory, a significant player in the local economy, may face prolonged operational disruptions as investigations unfold. Additionally, this tragedy could reignite discussions about improving safety standards across the manufacturing sector. As authorities work to determine the cause and extent of the damage, factory owners may be compelled to reassess their safety protocols. Stakeholders will be closely monitoring the situation to ensure that lessons are learned and that such incidents are prevented in the future, ultimately aiming for a safer work environment for all. Typhoon Bavi has rapidly intensified while approaching Taiwan, raising significant concerns among meteorologists and government authorities. This storm is expected to be one of the most powerful to impact the region since 2024, prompting a state of emergency across the island. Authorities are advising citizens to brace for heavy rainfall and strong winds in the coming days, with the potential for widespread flooding and landslides. The typhoon's trajectory indicates a likely landfall, which could lead to substantial damage to homes, infrastructure, and agriculture, a sector already vulnerable to extreme weather. Emergency services are on high alert, prepared to respond swiftly to any impacts from the storm. The economic ramifications may be severe, particularly for farmers and local businesses that depend on stable weather conditions. As Bavi approaches, the situation is being monitored closely, with updates provided regularly. Residents are urged to stay informed and take precautions, as the storm is expected to make landfall within the next 48 hours. In response to escalating pressures from China, Taiwan has conducted a series of Coast Guard patrols near sensitive islands in the Taiwan Strait. This initiative highlights Taiwan's commitment to asserting its territorial claims amid increasing military maneuvers by China, which has ramped up its presence in the region. The Coast Guard's patrols not only symbolize Taiwan's readiness to defend its sovereignty, but also serve as a deterrent against potential aggression from Beijing. The Taiwanese government has underscored the importance of maintaining regional stability, stressing that these actions are essential for national security. Analysts view these patrols as a pivotal move in reinforcing Taiwan's defense posture and signaling to China that it will not back down. As tensions escalate, the international community is monitoring the developments closely, particularly regarding the implications for U.S.-China relations. In the coming weeks, Taiwan's strategic decisions will be crucial as it navigates this complex geopolitical landscape with the potential for significant shifts in regional dynamics. Germany has officially announced plans to acquire Tomahawk cruise missiles from the United States, marking a pivotal shift in its military policy and defense strategy. This decision is largely driven by the increasingly volatile security landscape in Europe, particularly in light of escalating tensions with Russia following its aggressive actions in Ukraine. By stationing these missiles on German soil, the German government aims to bolster its defense capabilities while reaffirming its commitment to NATO's collective security framework. Analysts suggest that this acquisition could provoke a further militarization of Europe, potentially igniting concerns over an arms race among European nations. Historically known for its pacifist stance post-World War II, Germany now finds itself grappling with the necessity of a more robust military posture in the face of emerging threats. The long-term implications of this decision will become clearer as geopolitical tensions continue to evolve, particularly with Russia's actions. As Germany moves forward, its approach will likely serve as a benchmark for other nations reassessing their defense strategies in an increasingly uncertain world. NATO is experiencing renewed strains as European members brace for increased turbulence amid ongoing geopolitical tensions. The alliance faces challenges reminiscent of the pressures experienced during the Trump administration, which saw a significant push for increased defense spending. Now, with the Russian threat escalating, NATO is compelled to reassess its defense strategies and military capabilities. In response, European nations are contemplating a substantial increase in their military presence, aiming to deter potential aggression from Moscow. This shift in focus not only impacts member countries' defense budgets, but also raises questions about NATO's operational framework and the cohesion of its alliances. The unity of the alliance will be put to the test as differing national interests come into play. Furthermore, the increasing militarization of Eastern Europe could lead to heightened tensions between NATO and Russia, potentially destabilizing the region further. As discussions unfold, NATO's ability to adapt and respond effectively will be crucial. The coming months will be pivotal as the alliance seeks to reinforce its collective security and maintain its relevance in an increasingly polarized global landscape. In a significant development, sources close to the Kremlin have reported that President Vladimir Putin is rejecting proposals for peace negotiations concerning the ongoing war in Ukraine. This decision comes amidst escalating tensions as the conflict has already resulted in thousands of casualties and widespread displacement. Many analysts believe this rejection signals a hardening of Russia's stance, potentially leading to an escalation in military actions, particularly in eastern Ukraine. The international community, including NATO and EU leaders, has expressed deep concern over the implications of this decision, as it may hinder prospects for peace in the region and embolden aggressive tactics. As fighting continues, the humanitarian situation in Ukraine remains dire, with millions lacking access to essential services. The rejection of negotiations raises critical questions about the future of Russian-Ukrainian relations and the viability of diplomatic resolutions. Observers are now left to ponder what strategies the West will adopt in response to this latest development, especially regarding sanctions and military support for Ukraine. With the conflict showing no signs of abating, urgent action may be necessary to prevent further escalation. Ukraine has intensified its military operations against Russian fuel infrastructure, with targeted strikes reported near Crimea. These attacks have successfully hit oil facilities and Russian naval assets, significantly disrupting supply chains crucial for Russian military logistics. This strategic escalation aims to weaken Russia's capacity to sustain its military campaigns in Ukraine, especially as the winter months approach, when fuel supplies become critical. Analysts suggest that Ukraine's heightened offensive is a direct response to ongoing Russian aggression, which has seen increased shelling and territorial incursions in recent weeks. The Ukrainian military emphasizes that these operations are essential for protecting national security and sovereignty. As the conflict endures, the humanitarian crisis continues to escalate, with thousands displaced and in dire need of aid. The international community is closely monitoring these developments, as they may lead to a significant shift in the dynamics of the war. The effectiveness of Ukraine's current strategy could influence future military engagements, potentially emboldening Western support for Kyiv. In light of these developments, the coming weeks will be pivotal as Ukraine seeks to consolidate its gains while navigating the challenges posed by a prolonged conflict and a harsh winter ahead. In a dramatic escalation of tensions, the U.S. and Iran have exchanged strikes in the Gulf region. This confrontation began when the U.S. launched airstrikes against Iranian military infrastructure, targeting facilities believed to be involved in supporting proxy groups. In retaliation, Iran targeted U.S. military bases in several Gulf states, including those in Iraq and Syria. This cycle of aggression raises fears of a broader conflict that could destabilize the region further, impacting not just the involved nations but also their allies. Historically, U.S.-Iran relations have been fraught, marked by decades of animosity since the 1979 Iranian Revolution, which saw the overthrow of the U.S.-backed Shah. As both nations continue to engage in hostilities, military analysts warn of significant repercussions for international oil markets and geopolitical alliances, especially if shipping routes in the Strait of Hormuz are threatened. The U.S. has reaffirmed its commitment to protecting its forces and interests in the area, emphasizing its readiness to respond to any escalations. Iran, on the other hand, has vowed to respond to any further attacks, signaling that the situation may worsen. With diplomatic channels strained, the international community is increasingly concerned about the potential for a wider war. In the coming days, both nations must weigh their next moves carefully to avoid igniting an uncontrollable conflict. Thank you for watching. Which of these stories shocked you the most? Let us know in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more updates on global news.